Howdy y'all, welcome back to Kalash. If this is your first time here, thank you so much for stopping in. So today we are going to be talking about Riley Defense. Alrighty boys and ghouls, so today we are out here with the RAK47 from Riley Defense. Got some nice red furniture on it. I do have to note that this is a blemish model, but to tell you the truth, I can't really find the blem. Oh, actually, you know what? In the sunlight, I just found it. The receiver has a little bit of pitting in it. That's it. So at least they actually paid attention to that, because yeah, I've definitely seen more reputable manufacturers with, pitting. So yeah, that's a little pitting. So no big deal though. That's just cosmetic, really. I mean, gun will probably run forever, but anyhow, let's see how she does. So the reason we're going to be talking about Riley Defense is because low-cost American AKs are always kind of a constant conversation in the AK world. So one of those constant conversations is always quality, 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 because here in the US, we don't have a 70-plus year history of producing AKs natively. So when it comes to talking US AKs, you really have like a big three thing going on. PSA, Palmetto State Armory, KUSA, Kalashnikov USA, and Riley Defense. A lot of people know of PSA's quality, and a lot of people know of KUSA's quality and the conversations around those two companies, but not a lot of people know anything about Riley Defense. So honestly, I didn't really know much about the company either, other than their, kind of manufacturing history and general quality. Except I don't know where they came from. I didn't know who started the company. I have no idea why they're called Riley Defense even now. And I kind of dug in on the internet, tried to find as much info as I could, and really couldn't find much. I'm not sure what year they started. The best I could find is possibly sometime 2015 or 2016. I did see some chatter that they may have been a rebranded IO, which is completely not true. That's definitely one thing I could confirm. There was definitely some minor chatter about a possible lawsuit at one point with IO, and that's just internet chatter. I couldn't actually find anything about that officially, but who knows, might have been true, not sure. And also just internet chatter that, they might have had assistance from IO engineers when they set up, which I don't know if that's true or not. The only real thing to be said of that is the earlier rifles, like their first generation of rifles, did have a lot of similarities to later IO rifles. So really, I guess because I couldn't find anything, super official about when they started and who they really are, might as well just go to the, horse's mouth. So went to their website, and I might as well just read it off, and I'll paraphrase a little bit and skip through the yada yada, but Riley Defense is a family-owned and operated AK-47/74 manufacturer located in Hickory, North Carolina. So that's news. I did not know they were family-operated. That's cool. The idea was born out of the need to produce top-quality variants of the AK-47/74 platform made in the USA at a competitive price with an emphasis on customer service. So I don't personally have experience with their customer service very much, but I do have experience talking with more of their top brass people, and they were very sweet, very cool. So it's the best I could really say to that. We believe that producing a top quality product is one part of the experience, and excellent customer service is the other part to ensure a satisfying experience for our customers. So getting a little bit into the yada yada yada, but I think that's a statement about pretty much everybody could agree with. So could talk about that a bit, because in the beginning they were using cast trunnions, actually cast carriers, a lot of cast parts, and inherently AKs do have some cast parts like gas block and stuff like that, but when it comes to forged trunnions and stuff, I mean, really the market for something like a Riley is, kind of newer shooters. They're not going to be buying like $3,000 collector AKs for their first AKs. So really what that means is, the strength of your front trunnion, that's where your barrel is fitted into. So strength of your front trunnion is of the utmost importance. So after a few disastrous reviews back in the day and a lot of customer reports of just general cast trunnions failing, which was an IO thing, definitely. A lot of their guns were failing. There was a lot of talk going on. I mean, uh, internet, culture with AKs hasn't been around for that long. So that was kind of the early days of it back then. And, there's a lot of chatter about, cast trunnions. So, a lot of companies quickly switched off of cast trunnions, Riley being one of them. And eventually a lot of their parts started to change over into, fully milled parts instead of their cast variants, which is a definite improvement in quality. So, at least when it comes to the yada yada kind of statements in their own company bio, uh, you know, there is at least some evidence that they do take note of the market and they do take note of complaints and shit like that, and at least do something about it. So that's cool. That's cool. So the rest of the bio is a bit more of that yada yada yada. Our products will be sold through a network of distributors. So that's one thing to note. They don't sell direct through their website. They do sell through distributors only. So you got to go somewhere like Atlantic Firearms. I saw Legion USA actually has a pretty good deal on them. So one interesting thing about their bio is they actually do have a write-up on their whole build process, which that's kind of interesting. So let's read through that a little bit. At Riley Defense Inc., our process is centered on making certain our parts go through a vigorous and meticulous inspection process. Each major part is tested for its mechanical properties such as hardness, strength, ductility, and then followed by a dimensional inspection with the use of fixtures and in some cases certain measuring components with our CMM equipment. After the quality control parts process, we start grouping and mating all components. For example, labeling and matching every receiver with a trunnion and every trunnion with a barrel to guarantee that the trunnion holes are concentric to the receiver holes, which ensures the assembly is straight. So one of those parts to the build processes that is very integral, speaking of the barrel and the trunnion, is when they are mating the barrel into the trunnion and they're riveting it in, the receiver holes need to be dimpled in for the rivets just to ensure a better fitment with the trunnion and ensure longevity in the mating of the barrel to the trunnion so your headspace stays good. So I'm just going to skip ahead a little bit here. After the barrel has been set into the trunnion, we populate the sights and gas block and check them with extremely precise lasers. Then it's on to the assembly lines to attach all other components such as furniture, trigger components, etc. So the gist of the rest is they test fire them, they clean them, final inspection, and then they are off to shipping. So it's kind of a run-of-the-mill vanilla company bio. It doesn't really tell you much about when they started, who started them. I still have no clue why they're called Riley Defense. So not that that's important or anything like that, because really what's important is the actual quality of the rifle. So Riley Defense did send me this rifle to check out. There was no kind of exchange for it. Like, I don't have to say anything in particular. There was no money exchanged or nothing like that. It was literally just to check the rifle out and see, how are they doing these days. So in the past, they did have some disastrous reviews, which they do take into account, and that's a really good thing. I think it's a bit evidenced in their more recent builds because there has definitely been an uptick in quality, and that is evidenced in this build right here. So this is made out of 100% American parts, and I mean, pretty much everything on it is stamped USA. I'm surprised even the trunnion isn't, actually. This is one of their CL lines, the classic line. So, it has the laminated furniture, and the furniture is not bad. I mean, it's the run-of-the-mill laminated furniture you find on a lot of American AKs with wood furniture, like Century and things like that. Not all of their AKs are American, but, even on the imported ones, it's, 922 parts. So in the past, Riley Defense guns were not 100% American parts. They actually used some Hungarian parts, and that has since changed, and they are now using a 100% American-made setup. So you do have like a kind of a Krebs style safety there. It does have the bolt hold open, and it does have an extended mag release, which is kind of cool. And it's not like the Polish one where it's like a fatter bulb or anything. It's literally just a longer mag release, which that's pretty cool. The grip, I'm not sure who makes that. You know, someone commented when I first got this gun which grip it was, but frankly I don't remember which grip it is. But for a smaller grip, it's actually not terrible. I kind of like it. I mean, would be cool if they had a wood grip to match the furniture, but you know, this was a blem model, so I don't know if the actual ones that are for sale on the shelf have wood grips or if they come with this style grip. But that was one thing to note, is this is a blem model. The blem was actually kind of hard to find, and really all it was just some really minor pitting in the receiver here. I mean, super minor. I mean, it's a good thing it got through QC, because I mean, you know, with as many guns as PSA sells, I doubt their QC process might have caught that, really. Slander. So the rifle was initially test fired with Wolf, and you know, I went on to test it with a few different things. Tested it with some Wolf, some Tel ammo, some Norinco, and all of it actually performed really well. I did go look through some other reviews just to see what other folks were saying and all that. I mean, not to really give myself an opinion of it or anything, but you know, I did find, you know, like one review talking about its accuracy, and you know, I didn't have any issues with accuracy whatsoever, so that's good. But you know, I'm only able to take it out to 200 yards, so I can't really say how I would operate under the condition of like 300-400 yards or something like that. But up to 200, it was perfectly fine. The irons actually came zeroed, which was very convenient, and they actually came with a pretty nice zero on them, so that was cool. So I initially took it to the range just to kind of plink around and get a feel for the rifle, you know, see how it is in comparison to, you know, much higher priced rifles. You know, I do own a Bulgarian SLR 95, which, you know, is a very nice AK-47, but you know, it's milled receiver. You know, it's one of the better ones you can get, really. You know, so it's like, how does something like that as a control stack up to, you know, what's supposed to be kind of a low cost, competitively priced rifle, as they say? You know, and I have to say, the gassing is really nice, and that was really apparent right out of the box. You know, I didn't suffer any sort of break-in period or anything like that. It was shooting great right out of the box. So, you know, that's definitely cool, because, you know, I have a lot of AKs, and, you know, it's some of them actually do require a little bit of a break-in period, which, you know, so that's a thing. This gun did great with a variety of ammo right out of the box. So I'm just trying to think of how many more times I can say the phrase right out of the box. Sorry, I think gun reviews can get a little redundant sometimes. But, you know, not like I don't overanalyze anything myself. You know, one thing that I was immediately thinking about was that the furniture is actually holding up pretty well. It didn't come loose or anything like that after a few hundred rounds. You know, there's like a slight jiggle in the handguard, but it's nothing that's abnormal for an AK. You know, I mean, you see it all the time. It's not a big deal. It did come with a cleaning rod. I just actually couldn't actually get it back in there, and I think that was actually one of the blem parts, because, you know, the one I had was a little scratched up and whatnot. So, you know, I think they just kind of threw that in there because this was, you know, shipping out as a, like, not a T&E rifle, but it was a, you know, hey, got this blem rifle, I mean, it shoots good, you want to check it out? And, you know, that was kind of the deal. So whatever, but it came a little loose, so I just pulled it out. It's fine. But definitely a big believer in the cleaning rod, man. This baby goes to 10. So you do have 11 position sight, ribbed top cover, standard cast gas block, cast sights up here, and the old sugar scoop. Now, like I said, the gun shot really well out of the box, just kind of plinking around at the range. So decided to take it as a match, as I usually do when I really want to try a gun out and actually, you know, test its metal a little bit. So I took it over to a Texas Tactical and used it with just irons, actually, and it performed fantastically.
So Texas Tactical is an IDPA rules kind of match, so there are zoned shots, so you do kind of have to slow up a little bit in this match and actually make sure you get it in your A zone on this one. Kind of see me cooking up a little bit through the day, but I definitely took it slow on that first stage. This is a two-gun match, so it does require a little bit of pistol work. Don't know what was up with my cameraman there, but roll along. For some reason throughout the day, I missed that charging handle twice. Don't know what was up with that. But one thing you could immediately notice about the rifle is it's really, really flat shooting. It's really nice, and it really allowed me to actually speed up through the day. And being that you really need to use your safety during a Texas Tactical because of the transitions, the Krebs style safety really did help a lot. So this stage you had a forced reload, and you can see I had a failure to feed or something there in the last one, so had to charge it again, and then you had to get headshots on this one at the end, I remember, so got to transition over to the pistol.
So having this Krebs style safety and at that range having the bolt hold open is actually pretty handy. It can be pretty handy to have a decent trigger at a match like Texas Tactical because, you know, it's usually only a few targets, so your splits kind of matter. The trigger itself, it's a little mush and then a break, and it's not too bad. It's not the worst AK trigger I've ever felt or anything like that, but you know, it's a little better than a military trigger. It's not quite as good as like a factory Zastava trigger, because those are probably the best factory triggers on the market right now. I actually still have not changed out the trigger in my M90. I did in the M85, but not the M90. So after shooting the rifle for a bit, you know, I got a pretty good impression of it. And I mean, like I said, its gassing is absolutely beautiful, very, very manageable, not too heavy, not too light. Everything held up real well. I did have some questions about manufacturing, as we were talking about, you know, the evolution from their early days. And, you know, being that there was a lot of evidence that they do listen to customer feedback, they do listen to things like reviews, and definitely listen to the complaints and address them. You know, in the past, they had definitely been shown that they had not been dimpling the receiver when they were doing the trunnion rivets. And, you know, after speaking to them, they do actually do that now. So that's a good thing. But apparently it's only on the front. So, you know, you apparently do not have dimples in the rear trunnion here, which, you know, I guess time will tell. Being that I'm not a builder and speaking to, you know, some people that definitely know way better than I do, you know, it's like, yeah, I mean, you know, it'll be fine for now. It's not like the worst thing on the planet. It's, you know, a lot, you know, it's not on the level of something like, you know, a headspace issue or something like that. But, you know, yeah, I mean, might not take the bashing that, you know, a fully dimpled AK would, you know. So, you know, that's one thing to note. So, I mean, being that, you know, it's easy enough. I mean, I do have a machining background, just not a AK building background. I mean, you know, all it takes is the right punch, and I mean, it's that easy to dimple something. So, you know, please start doing that, I suppose. So one thing that could definitely be breaking in, the action. It is a little rough, but since I first started shooting the gun, it definitely has improved, but there is significant hang up on the hammer face. So being that this was such a good shooter right out of the box, I think it'd actually be a pretty good candidate just to add some parts that increase its overall shootability, you know, little furniture action, you know, a muzzle brake, maybe actually check out a red dot. But like I said, man, I mean, the irons on this were actually really, really well zeroed right out of the box, which, you know, I don't know if they do that at the factory, which I highly doubt that, because the test fire is going to be like 5-10 rounds max. But who knows, you know, maybe they have lasers. When I got my M90, speaking of that gun, I went to go, you know, zero the irons on that, and they were perfectly zeroed out of the box too. So that was kind of interesting. I'm like, wow, you know, I don't know if their bore sighting works that well, but holy shit, you know, speaking of lasers. But I definitely like the wood furniture and everything. I mean, I don't know if red's really my color, but I definitely like the wood furniture quite a bit. However, you know, I think, you know, we could do what we normally do with guns around here and, you know, throw a few things at it and, you know, increase the shootability of it overall and see if we can make it just a little bit more fun to shoot without having to do things like, you know, adjustable gas or, you know, might have to profile this hammer face, but, you know, not a big deal. It's a throwaway part really on a Blem rifle. You know, I think it's really just going to come down to really furniture because got an extended safety out of the box. That works just fine. Definitely gonna have to throw a muzzle brake on there because as well gassed as this thing is, we can always calm it down a little bit with just a nice compensator. And since it is a low-cost rifle, I mean, you know, we'll see if we can dig out the old UTG mount and throw it on here because that would actually be a pretty good candidate to test on this, you know, low-cost mount, low-cost optic, low-cost rifle, because we're going to be definitely taking a look at a lot more low-cost items around here in the future. That's one thing that's definitely going to be coming up. Because, you know, I mean, I'm all about bang for the buck, you know? I mean, yeah, I definitely have some decent stuff. But, you know, when it gets down to it, you know, a lot of newer shooters watch this channel. So, you know, I mean, one of the best ways you can reach people is definitely telling them not what to waste their money on and, you know, things that can actually stick around in their kit for a little while rather than replacing it after, you know, 6 months when they get some better paychecks. So let's go ahead and throw some parts at this guy and see what we come up with.